Hey everybody, we're going to go over a very special prep today. I'm really excited to bring you this product review. So today we're going to be taking a look at the BALDR power meter. Now you guys have seen my kilowatt reader in the past. It's worked great. We're going to try and test this one out because we have a lot of projects coming up here on the homestead that we're going to want to be able to meter for. So when we're talking about power monitoring, the features it has are pretty good, right? Being able to measure voltage, frequency, current. It's able to show you minimum and maximum power. It can record, cumulative kilowatt hour using time, how long the device is been plugged in. It can tell you the expense per kilowatt hour, and you can read everything from an LED screen. So that's really, really helpful. And it has a built-in battery backup. So if there's a power outage, you'll be able to look at your last results. You'll be able to look at whatever metered you had going until your power went out. Took it out of the package. Everything out of the package looks good. So it's flipped around here. I took the battery plate off, and as you can see, it uses a standard LR44 battery, 2 of them. This is for power monitoring in case there's a power outage. A very standard battery, like what people would call watch batteries. And then right here, we look at our meter. We can see the item number. We can see the input at 125 volt, output 125 volt. Working temperature, obviously anywhere between 0 and 50 degrees centigrade, which is pretty good. But that's what we got on the back. So I'm going to do something I haven't done before. This is the owner's manual. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the time right now to take some screenshots of the how-tos, right? Because obviously we know this product can do a few things, like how do you set up the clock? How do you set up the power monitoring for cost? How do you set up the parameters for the current or frequency, what have you? So I think that if I take some screen grabs of it now and leave them in the video, you can just pause the video if you want to know how to do, a certain thing. So I think this can be helpful for me because we know these things, they disappear sometimes. They get thrown out or they get lost. And so if I can even use this video as a reference for myself for the how-tos, I think it can be beneficial for all of us. So let me know if that's something that's helpful for you guys in the comment section below. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to plug this thing in. And the easiest way to do it is to use an extension cord because trying to record this while it's plugged into a wall probably will be a little bit more difficult. This will allow me to be able to move it around and kind of show you what I'm doing. So here we go. We're plugged in. You can see me kind of recording in the background there, but it says the time is 10:14, which is not, so we'll have to change that. But overall, this LED screen, besides the fact that you can kind of see me recording, it's really good. I can see everything very clearly, and everything is in a very easy to read format. So that's a great thing. So I went ahead and I updated the cost per kilowatt hour and obviously the clock. As you can see here, you hold down on the clock and it gives you that. To cycle through, you'll press set. If you're trying to change it, you press up. So we're just going to cycle through it since this is the actual time. It is 2:14. So everything's all good. We're going to press OK. It's going to go back to the main screen. And then for cost, same thing. We're going to hold down the cost button. Yep, that works. So set, tariff 1, right? And my cost per kilowatt hour here on the homestead is 11 cents per kilowatt hour, but I added an extra cent in there just to ensure that we are 100% within our range. So this is all good, so I'm going to press OK, OK, and then now we're back at the main screen. So right here we have our 40 cubic foot chest freezer. As you can see, it's on, nice and cold. Got a bottle of water here, frozen. We have our temperature sensor right here. So this thing is in service. And what I want to know is how much power it's going to use in a 24-hour period. As you can see, we've had it on for 7 minutes now. We plugged in at 1420. total kilowatts 0.007, right? Because we just plugged it in. We're going at 60 hertz now, and I can cycle through all this stuff and see the different settings. But the purpose of this video is to not only test the power monitoring of this BALDR, meter, but I also want to see what it's going to take to run our 40 cubic foot freezer in a 24-hour period. As you can see here, we're consistently pulling in 121, 122 volt, which is what I expected. So overall, I really want to see the stats on this. I want to see how much power we use in a 24-hour period. I want to see if the voltage stays steady. I want to monitor all that stuff. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So we actually decided to go for 2 days. So it's 2:46, so a little over 48 hours. And as you can see, we still have a voltage of around 121 and total kilowatt hour usage 2.36. So let's look at our total cost real quick. 0.28, so 28 cents altogether to run this very large chest freezer for a little over 48 hours. And for looking at it, this freezer is running at about 1.04 amps with a current wattage of 115 watts. And if we look at maximum wattage here, maximum wattage of 852.2 with a minimum wattage of 2.1 watts. So as you can tell with these freezers, once they get up to temperature, it does not take a whole lot to keep them steady, especially at nighttime when it's getting cold. It requires very little energy, but obviously right now with the heat 110% out, it's going to require more electricity. And then when we're just starting to get it cool from absolutely, room temperature, is going to require a lot more electricity as well. So overall, I must say I am really super impressed with how this thing is, doing overall. I'm very impressed. So altogether, when we're looking at our numbers, we're looking at a max wattage of under 900 watts, a minimum wattage of 2.1 watts. We're looking at, stays pretty consistent at, just under, 110 watts continuous. And keep in mind, this freezer is just sitting out in my back, on my back patio, so to speak. So it is getting hit with direct sunlight. If we were to move this we're going to have it into one of our freezing rooms, it's going to use a lot less electricity. But overall, based upon this 48-hour calculation, I'm looking at, and this is in the heat of summer, so with these temperatures staying consistent, we're looking at this freezer using 430 kilowatt hours annually, which is at the very high end. And if we were to calculate cost of how much that's going to cost to operate this very large chest freezer, we are looking at operating costs around $51 annually. Now, ultimately, this is a great test to run, and this is why this is so important and why I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible, is because I'm wanting to get my freezer completely off-grid, right? The next project, as far as power goes, is get my freezer and water pump off-grid. If I can do that, I can maintain a standard of living here that's actually not that bad. So ultimately, that's the goal. And by being able to see total metering output as far as how much electricity is using, that's great, because I need to know how big my battery bank needs to be. Now, knowing what my max and mins are as far as output is important, because I need to know what kind of inverter to buy, right? Because if we know that we are doing a max output in temperature, directly in temperature at under 1,000 watts, I know I can buy safely, if I wanted just to keep this thing off grid, an inverter that would put me at 1,000 watts max output. That would be more than enough to run this machine. And then knowing what my continuous watt hour usage in temperature is important, because I know right now I'm using under 110 watts right now in the hottest portion of the day. So I know if I put 300 watts of solar up, that I will be able to match the continuous output, and charge over 10-12 hour period of daylight. I'd be able to charge the batteries up to capacity, so when they're drained at nighttime, when the continuous wattage is lower because the temperature is lower, I'll be able to do this continuously without having to worry about, you know, basically getting my battery too low, right? I know I'll be able to continuously keep that charge. So 300 watts of solar would 100% run this thing with a decent sized battery bank continuously off grid indefinitely. So knowing these numbers is what's going to allow me to start this sustainability project, this journey going forward. So I will say I'm super impressed with the power meter. It's doing everything I needed to do. I traditionally have used kilowatt meters in the past. They're great. Unfortunately, Home Depot, Lowe's, they don't have them. People are buying them, people are using them, and good, that's what they're there for. But I thought I'd give this one a try. I'm impressed with it. I really like it. So we're going to definitely be continuously using this on other power journeys that we have. But yes, ultimately, I want to get my large chest freezer off grid. I want to get my water pump off grid as well. So we'll do another video on the water pump so we can talk about that as well. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope everything's going well for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy your day. And as always, guys, long live the Republic.